Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues, distinguished guests, and our MBA graduates, my name is Vicky Potts and I'm head of the Business School. I'm welcoming you to the Faculty of Arts, Business and Social Sciences. It really is my great pleasure to welcome you to join the Chartered Management Institute and the University of Wolverhampton Business Schools to our 30th annual Crystal Lecture. This is my first Crystal Lecture as head of school. I've been reflecting on the really important relationship that exists between the CMI and our business school and the huge benefit that CMI accreditation has and brings to our students. We're really proud of our city here in Wolverhampton and we're committed to the institution, to our place. We know that the key to the future of the city and region is skills, so we need our business school graduates to be ready to lead and manage for the future. And we know that a CMI certificate or diploma supports the future employability of our graduates. The CMI Crystal Lecture has long been a platform where thought leaders, innovators and experts come together to share insights and spark new ideas. It is a space where we celebrate excellence in management, reflect on the challenges and opportunities of the modern world, and more importantly, we look forward to the future, shaping it through informed decision-making, creativity, and a commitment to making positive change. Tonight's lecture promises to be no exception in the ever-evolving and global landscape in which we now operate. Whether in business, education, technology, or the public sector, the forces shaping our world are vast and dynamic. Leadership in this environment requires a unique blend of strategic vision, emotional intelligence and adaptability. And it is through the thought-provoking conversations, like the one we're about to experience this evening, we can further refine our understanding of what it means to lead effectively in the 21st century. The theme of this year's lecture reflects a critical issue in today's world, climate change, and the theme underscores the need for us as leaders and professionals to navigate complex challenges with insight and integrity. Our speaker this evening is someone who has been at the forefront of this issue, brings both expertise and passion to this conversation. I would like to take a moment to thank the CMI for continuing to support such a vital and enriching event. Their commitment to fostering professional development and driving excellence in leadership is truly commendable. But before we welcome our speaker this evening, we will be awarding the Rose Bowl, which is a prize given to the best performing student on the MBA programme. So without further ado, may I welcome Donna Goodall, CMI Chair and Stakeholder Lead, to introduce our finalists. Thank you.
So welcome everybody to the 30th annual lecture. It's all very exciting and I think we're all definitely looking forward to the lecture this evening, so welcome. We had the pleasure of listening to the MBAs. The students obviously were judged and they've really shown that they've understood, grasped everything and they're putting into practice everything that they've learned. So it was really a joy for us to listen to, and it was really difficult judging, wasn't it, Scoopy? But yeah, we really enjoyed it. We actually ran out of time with the presentations, but it was great to read the dissertations and then to have them presented. So they brought everything together to let us know what they'd learned and also how CMI had helped them with them becoming chartered as well, which was really good. I have pleasure this evening in introducing our three finalists who have done extremely well, and we're very proud, as I say, as the university are as well, which is brilliant. I think somebody else was saying that they'd been, was it yourself that you said that you'd been nominated and actually were one of, it's brilliant though, isn't it? So it just goes to show, doesn't it, but that's really good. So it was nice to hear that story earlier. Sorry to embarrass you though. So I have great pleasure in inviting the runners up first of all to the stage, and as I say, it was a really difficult decision because we could see the passion, we could see the enthusiasm, and we could see that they'd got results, and it was clear that they'd learned a lot from their actual course that they'd completed in the programme. So if you wouldn't mind coming up to collect your certificates, if I could first of all have Kamran Singh Kalkat to the stage, please. well done, well done. And if I could have Stuart Morgan to the stage. Trying to see where everybody is. Well done. And then why did we choose this person to be the winner? And again, as we say, it was really difficult, but of course this person did shine, and you could actually see that he'd got passion, again, enthusiasm. He'd learned such a lot, and he said that it was great because he learned how to be ethical, how to remember that everybody's different and not to pigeonhole anybody. He said that it's gave him a lot of self-confidence and how to implement change, more importantly. He said that it's helped him communicate effectively to all audiences, and he wanted to ensure when he did his project that he included everybody. He wanted to ensure that he empowered people, so of course he wanted to get results from them, and he went that extra mile to ensure that everybody completed surveys to get the results that he needed to make this change happen, which was really good, we thought, and we could see that, so he said that he wanted to overcome barriers. On completing the course, he said that he's now set up a new sustainability task group in his workplace, so he has actually put into practice what he's learnt, which is great to actually see and hear as well, because it's what we like to see at CMI, and to get those better managers, we know that it shines through and through, which is great. As I say, he said the main thing was that he's learnt to be self-disciplined and how to apply leadership theory in the real world, which again is really good to hear that he's actually come away with lots of skills, changing his behaviour and changing obviously the way he goes about things to get the right results. He said that he's learnt to be open-minded, and he said that he wants to ensure that he gets everybody included and go that extra mile to ensure that he gets the clear results that are needed. But we could see clearly that he demonstrated ethical leadership style and basically the willingness to continue learning and to not be knocked back if he's not getting the results in the beginning. So yes, I have great pleasure in presenting the winner with a much-deserved Rose Bowl Award. Congratulations to Jack Seaman. She wasn't all a bear, is it? Brilliant, no, well done. We were really impressed. Yeah,
thanks a lot, thank you.
There you go. There you go. The Rose Bowl. Yeah, don't drop it. Well done.
Thanks a lot, thank you.
So yeah, well done to everybody. As we say, each of the presentations and each of the dissertations in their own right were worthy of being winners. So we were really pleased with them. So keep doing Wolverhampton University what you're doing. Great job there. And we just wanted to say that keep on putting into practice everything that you've learned, becoming better managers, and obviously being confident in what you're doing and taking those skills forward, which I'm sure that I have confidence you will be doing. So I'm sure now we're all very much looking forward to Sadham's lecture on influencing climate change through global leadership, which resonates with CMI and what we're all about, and that's all about, we've included in CMI's objectives, going that extra mile to create better led and better managed organisations. So thank you everybody tonight, and enjoy the lecture.
A bit of a bio for Sadham, which I have the pleasure of being able to showcase you. So Sadham Zarjahan is the dynamic CEO of the International Youth Council. He stands as a beacon of inspiration in the Development Centre. With over a decade of dedicated service, he has seamlessly integrated youth-led organisations, international NGOs, development partners, governing bodies, private institutions, celebrities, and youth through IYC strategic initiatives aimed at promoting inclusive and sustainable youth development. A qualified industrial engineer, he is known as a passionate youth advocate, demonstrating a strong work ethic in a variety of social work settings. He is the World Muslim Community Council's youth representative and gained widespread acclaim, respect and recognition for his journey in social advocacy began as a volunteer with the International Red Cross in Sri Lanka. His passion for youth empowerment was ignited during his college years when he was selected from thousands of applicants to present his environment-friendly engineering project at the 6th World Youth Congress in Brazil. This pivotal experience led the foundation for his involvement with the IYC, leading to the establishment of its Sri Lanka chapter in 2012. He was appointed the first vice chairperson for partnerships and resources of the Commonwealth Youth Council. In this role, Sadham successfully implemented a range of youth-led programmes and conferences aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals and the Commonwealth Charter fostering youth engagement across the Commonwealth nations. In 2015, Mr. Sadham's leadership earned him a position in New York as a Global Executive Committee member, enhancing its global outreach and collaboration with development partners. Mr. Sadham joined the UN Industrial Development Organization in 2018, where he led the EU, Sri Lanka, trade-related assistance for enhancing small and medium-sized enterprise trade competitiveness in regional EU market projects. His efforts in providing technical and strategic assistance to SMEs, implementing geographical indications for the Ceylon cinnamon industry, and designing Sri Lanka's first food traceability system using AI and blockchain technology has been widely acclaimed. In addition to his role at IYC, Mr. Sadham is also the CEO of the Zara Group, a family venture, serves as the CEO of the Global Carbon Exchange and My Academica education consultancy services here in the UK. In academic terms, he has an international MBA from BCU and a bachelor's degree in mechatronics engineering from the University of Wolverhampton. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to introduce you to tonight's speaker, Sadham Zarjahan.
Thank you. Hello everyone, I'm Sadham Zarjahan from Sri Lanka. First of all, I would like to thank the university for providing opportunity again, and also CMI for the opportunity for inviting me to speak in front of the audience. And also, I would like to thank all of you for showing interest at the weekday evening to come to the lecture and showing your interest to climate change. So today's lecture I prepared in 4 segments. So first of all, first segment will be explaining from how I started, how I came from engineering student to this diplomacy world. And the second segment will be showcase what we do as an organization globally with International Youth Council. And the third segment, I will be explaining one example, how every single actions are connected to global climate change initiatives and how every single actions matters. The final one, I'm going to showcase what are the opportunities we have with International Youth Council, how you can engage with us, and what are the opportunities we have to work together. So let me open this first. All right. So I would say, I would call University of Wolverhampton as University of Opportunities, to be honest with you. I'm from Sri Lanka. I joined affiliated program, University of Wolverhampton's affiliated program in Sri Lanka. So as an engineering student, once I passed out my GCE A-levels, I was actually looking to study pilot. I want to become pilot. So my father, I'm born to Asian family, so it's a traditional practice in Asian family when your sister is a medical student, so obviously you are forced to study engineering. You have no options. This is the typical South Asian parents' mindset. So I have no options to choose to become pilot, even though my parents were ready to send me to pilot school. I was pushed by society to study engineering. So I choose what is most important and highlighting topic at the time. So I had a choice of going to civil engineering or electronics. So mechatronics in 2011 it's key talking point. Everybody is talking about mechatronics. It's a new industry. So I told my parents, if you want me to study engineering, I'm going to choose this one and see how it goes. So, and the agreement I had with my father, after I do engineering, you can't interfere in my field, whatever I do. Then he agreed to let me study a mechatronics program. So we only had mechatronics with Wolverhampton in Sri Lanka. So I joined CINEC right after my schools. Then when I studying second year of the program, I designed solar-powered lighthouses. So the concept, sustainability, environment, eco-friendly projects were highly discussed during our lectures. So I was looking to design a project for my final year project. So I started designing it during my second year. Then I designed a solar-powered lighthouse. Then I pitched this idea to engineering council, head of the engineering council in Sri Lanka. So he didn't encourage my ideas. He said, I'm not innovating something, I'm just plugging the solar panels to the lighthouse. So the concept, I built on that. More than the fixing the panels to the lighthouse, how much energy we can save, how much advocate we can start. So that's how my journey started to coming to this field. Then I was looking to find out where I can validate my idea. So I have an idea. It was turned down by the engineering council. It was supported by my university. But still I have to validate somewhere my idea, how I can implement this idea, or how I can pitch this idea to the government. So as a university student, I have very limited resources at that time. So I was doing a research online. Then we had the Rio Plus 20 conference in Brazil, it's a climate conference in 2012. So I applied there. I went to the climate summit in Rio Plus 20. Then when I went there, my ideas, I saw we had like 350 new innovators from different industries, different background, different universities across the world. And they all had different idea to how to tackle climate change initiatives. So I had a chance of working in favela, in slum in Brazil. So we had a project to support school students to come to schools, because they have a school, but nobody come to study. They all go to play football. So that's the reality in Rio. It's a slum area because we can't force them to study. So we had to work with Coca-Cola, and we had a project to support them to include football as a syllabus in the school. So they come to school, play football first, then they study for 2 hours, then again they play football, go home. So this is the project I did during 3 weeks' time in Brazil. So I saw the impact it made in those community. I saw the happiness from the parents, how it transformed their life. So even though they studied initially 2 hours, now they are studying more than 6 hours. So small projects change the entire community, entire dynamics of the city. So that is where I decided I'm going to shift my career from working on programming, on mechatronics, to working with the people, where I can find true passion and where I can find at least satisfaction to my heart. So University of Wolverhampton initially supported my journey to Brazil. So at that time I was looking for a funding to travel to Brazil. From Sri Lanka to Brazil it's 23 hours flight, and it's very expensive at that time. So my father partially funded, and the university, I wrote to Professor Andy. So he left the university a couple of years ago. So why I say University of Opportunities here? So even though I'm studying in Sri Lanka, even though I'm an affiliated student of University of Wolverhampton, they didn't see me as an affiliated student. So when I wrote to them, when I wrote to professor, they immediately responded that as their own student who are studying in the UK. They provided me with the support to travel to Brazil. So that one conference changed my life and changed my career path. After that, I came back to Sri Lanka. I was completing my study. During that time, we had Commonwealth. So during that time, we had Commonwealth head of government meeting in Sri Lanka. So at that time, I also had a challenge of applying to that. So it is through the election process. It's not a very straightforward application. So we have to apply for this position, and the former Queen of England, she wanted to establish this Commonwealth Youth Council for the entire Commonwealth country. It's a new establishment in the for the entire Commonwealth country, and I have to go through the election process. And before that, before I joined Commonwealth Youth Council, I was also introduced to IYC founder, International Youth Council founder in Brazil, and I started International Youth Council in Sri Lanka, and I was doing projects in Sri Lanka. I'll come to the International Youth Council segment after this Commonwealth introduction. And during this time, I had a challenge of getting into the elections. So it comes through the National Youth Council. I'm not part of National Youth Council. I was part of the other youth-led body, which they see as opponent for the National Youth Council, because I was working for International Youth Council. So I didn't get through the government process. So then I wrote to my team again with the International Youth Council founders. So I got a recommendation from Ban Ki-moon, former UN Secretary General, to contest in the election. So it was a lot of internal politics within the organization to get into the elections. Once I got a chance to stand for elections, I got through the elections, and I came to UK to work for Commonwealth Youth Council. That also gave me a lot of opportunities to work on this climate initiative. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Sorry. So during my Commonwealth Youth Council, because I came to this field by accident. I didn't study anything about diplomacy. I didn't study anything about development sector. I was studying engineering. Then I got a chance to join IYC and the Commonwealth CYC. Once I come to this position, and also it's the first Commonwealth Youth Council. It's the first time they established this. So I have to go through all the policy instruments. I have to start everything from the scratch, from the bank accounts to writing policy documents for how we manage the finances, how we manage the organization. So luckily, I was trained by qualified managers with the Commonwealth Secretariat. So that is one of the key support I got it through Commonwealth Secretariat. Is an established organization. They had, even though we had first time we established this council, they support me to develop all the policies I need. So luckily I was trained by qualified people how to establish all the policy instruments I need for this to establish organization. And once we fully set up, it's the first time we set up in the UK, and we were working in all the 54 countries at that time. Now we have 56 countries in Commonwealth Secretariat. And initially, I got because my role is to bring funds and resources to the council, and in extent we have to implement in all the 54 countries across the Commonwealth region. So initially, I got funding support from the Pakistan government. So they are the first government to pledge $100,000, and from that we went up to 40 million pounds we raised through my period. And the project we start, I want to highlight one project where the Queen had a vision of having a 12 million hectares of tree plantation project. So it's called Queen's Commonwealth Canopy Project. So we implemented across the Commonwealth countries, and we total of 54 countries, and we had like 115 sites across the Commonwealth countries, and we covered more than 12 million hectares to do the tree plantation project from schools, from the universities, and from the private and public lands. She had a vision of expanding that project across the Commonwealth country. So this is one element I just want to highlight quickly. Now, I come to IYC. What is IYC and what we do globally? So IYC started the United Nations Youth Assembly. So United Nations organized youth assemblies since 2004. So during that time we had, everybody knows SDGs now. So during that time we only had Millennium Development Goals, we only had 8 goals. So we were focusing our project across 8 goals. And in 2007, people who came for this conference of the Youth Assembly, they felt like there is no youth body to take actions. We have ILO, we have UNICEF, we have WHO. There is no centered youth organization by the UN to take actions. So when they discussed, they came to a conclusion they want to start International Youth Council, but they want to keep it very independently from the UN. So they don't want to join as a UN family. They just wanted to have very independent from the UN body, which allow us to take actions by our own. So we still get funding from the UN. We follow the UN mandate. We follow all the policy instruments what we given by the UN and UNDP. But we work independently depending on the country's priority and what young people think what is important for their own country. So that's how we operate across the world. And let me see. So right now we are focusing on SDGs. All of you know what is SDGs. Those of you, if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask anytime during my lecture. And depending on the country's priority, we prioritize other projects. So normally, I personally believe working at the grassroots make more impact than working at the high level in the policy forums. So we work in all 72 countries at the moment, and depending on the country's priority and what young people think, what the project they want to design, and we provide support within this area. So more than anything, goal 17 is I personally focus. So without partnerships, we cannot do projects. So that is one thing. And I just want to highlight where are we right now in terms of UN SDGs. And before I show an example, let me see.
The Sustainable Development Goals Report 2024, a moment of choice and consequence. With just 6 years remaining, current progress falls far short of what is required to meet the SDGs. The report reveals that only 17% of the SDG targets are on track, with nearly half showing minimal or moderate progress, and over 1/3 stalled or regressing. The convergence of multiple global crises has severely hindered progress. The lingering impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic, escalating conflicts, geopolitical tensions, and growing climate chaos have severely hindered progress. We must expand on successes to drive accelerated action. We're seeing significant progress in reducing child mortality, HIV prevention, and access to water, sanitation, and energy. We are at a critical moment of choice and consequence. We need bold action for peace, resolving conflicts through dialogue and diplomacy, financial support, reforming the global financial system to support developing countries, implementation surge, investing in critical areas like food, energy, social protection, digital connectivity, and more. We must empower women and girls in all our efforts. This year's Summit of the Future and upcoming conferences in 2025 are our chance to accelerate progress. We must act now and act boldly to rescue the SDGs. The choices we make today will shape our collective future. United, we can overcome any challenge and realize the world we want.
Right, so that's an update where are we right now. Just want to highlight a couple of from the report we had. I just want to show one intervention, what we do, how all the interventions, all the actions make sense, and how it's contributing to the climate change initiative. So I was right after Commonwealth's contract. I had right after the work from the Commonwealth, I joined UNIDO, United Nations Industrial Organization, as a consultant. So this project is funded by EU, and UK was part of EU at that time when we had this project. And we were supporting SMEs in Sri Lanka to export EU, including the UK. And as part of this project, I was handling Ceylon cinnamon geographical indication project for the first time in the country. So those of you know geographical indication is very popular in France. It started from France and from Champagne. And they have a lot of, even we have whiskey here in the UK. And so for Sri Lanka, it's completely new concept. It's a new for the government and new for the general public. And it's a new for all the audience in the country. So we have to work in multiple areas to implement this project and convince them how this project is supporting the climate change and how its project is securing the people who are in this industry. We have like 400,000 people are in this value chain. So we started with this project, and starting from this, forming the association of farmers, exporters, processors, and all the stakeholders involved. It's very highly important to understand their needs. And during my project, I was actually staying in farms, staying with the farmers to understand their needs, because personally, I believe, so we cannot enforce policies in developing countries from top to bottom. So it's not practically working. I had a chance of during our project, Sri Lankan Trade Minister's secretary, he wanted to have a new trade policy for the country. Then we brought down an expert from unit head office in Vienna. And what we found out during our research, they already have a new policy which is established in 1995. Until 2018, they did not implement single action from the policy. So this is the reality in developing country. They just want to have a document for the sake of showing off the world and showing off media. We have this document. So that's why I strongly believe we need to implement from the grassroots. It was always a bottom-to-up approach in these developing countries. We cannot just overnight develop a policy and tell them to follow the policy without knowing why they are following that and what is the logic behind the policy. So that is very important why we formed Ceylon Cinnamon GI Association, which include all the stakeholders in the industry, from the farmers, from the processors, and the exporters and importers in this industry, to understand and to define what is Ceylon cinnamon is. So as part of the GI requirement, we need to define our traditional know-how, what is Ceylon cinnamon and the processing method, and what makes Ceylon cinnamon unique compared to other cinnamons around the world. So we formed the association. The second one, we secured the funding for them, 50 million rupees for them to implement those initiatives. And also we conducted more than like 8 public awareness, because the reason why we did that why we publicly engage, because the climate change, the impact of climate change, and any initiative led by the government is not communicated in a language where anybody can understand. So right now we have COP29 happening in Azerbaijan. So I was seeing the reports in the morning. We have the decisions, but how it's reached to the general public, whether they know about this or whether they know what is going on with the UN, what is going on around the world, that is very important. So sitting in the UN office and making decisions and will not make a big impact unless you transform those decisions or policy documents in a language where general people or general audience can understand, where we can simplify. This is why it's very important to engage in public awareness program, and just to introduce the concept, why we are doing this and the logic behind every policy instruments what we introduce. So we did public awareness program where we involved almost all the stakeholders in this industry. And again, when it's a new for the country, again we have to put controls. We have to introduce the certification process, how the certification process work, and why we have to put controls to implement. So as part of the GI requirement, geographical indications requirement, we need to have controls to see whether they are following all the specification what we define. and how, because we have to work with the national standard institutions and national certifications bodies on how they can to train them on what is GI and how to check all the control points for Ceylon cinnamon certification process. On the other hand, we had to work with Export Development Board to prepare a promotion strategy. Right now we work with the farmers, and we also work with the certifications body or national instruments to certify, but without marketing, we will not get the price advantage. So the reason why we do GI, to get, once we implement the GI policies in place, the price will automatically expected to increase 2.5% for the food community. So that is the only way we can support the farmers community, all the stakeholders involved in this industry. So that is the reason we work with Export Development Board to increase the export. And also as part of this project, I also designed a traceability system. It's a mobile app where we can trace by scanning the QR code, where we can trace from who imported, who exported, and who manufactured the cinnamon, and which farm is exactly came from. So we have to use AI to check those reports and identify exactly, because cinnamon is a different product. It's not like apple we plucking from the tree and all the way up to the shelf. It's the same apple will remain the same. It will remain the same. But the cinnamon, from every single process, it's transformed the identity. So first we cut the bark, and again we make it a large cinnamon, and it's come to the small 7 inches. So every single steps, the cinnamon transform the shape, and it's mixed with other cinnamon from the different farms. So it's very difficult to trace exactly which farm it's coming from, and depending on the quality and the grade, we group them. So that is why we use AI and blockchain to trace. And in additionally, we put the social element to this software. By buying this cinnamon, how many people are going to school, and how many farmers are getting paid, and how much they are getting paid, every single component can be traced through this app. So this is the first time we introduce in Sri Lanka. This is what personally I want to do, then it's not part of the requirement of the project, and we did through UNIDO, and we implemented that software. And again, we introduced a national GI logo. We changed the law in the country, because there is no law to accommodate GI products in Sri Lanka as part of the national intellectual property law. So working with politicians in Sri Lanka, it took us like 2 years to convince them why GI is important for the country's export and country's economy. And during this time, we had all the possible troubles. We had terrorist attack, we had like illegal government for 52 days, and again we had COVID-19. We had all the challenges. Even though we had challenges, so luckily we had a team of association which includes all the farmers and all the stakeholders in the industry. So they understood the purpose. They understood why this intervention is needed for the country. It is needed for the industry to improve their income, to protect their name. Because what is happening in the global market, we have cassia from Indonesia. It's completely different species. If you Google it now, you can understand cassia is 10 times thicker than Ceylon cinnamon, but they sell it as Ceylon cinnamon. So I met a Fiji trade minister in one conference. They don't have single cinnamon in Fiji. They only take cassia from Indonesia. They believe it's Ceylon cinnamon, and they are consuming it. They are promoting it. Cassia is harmful for the health. Nobody understands it. It's banned in Russia, but it's available in the market. So even if in the shelves in the UK, I have seen cassia in every cinnamon shelf. So it's very risky to consume, number one. And number two, we are losing our price advantage. Ceylon cinnamon have higher price than compared to cassia. So the farmers are losing their money, the farmers are losing their market share, and in general, they are facing all this trouble caused by the climate effect in Sri Lanka. So that is why we have to protect that Ceylon cinnamon as a GI product, and now we are working on Ceylon pineapple and Ceylon tea in Sri Lanka to protect the our traditional reputation. So this is one intervention what we did as with UNIDO. And while I was working with International Youth Council, they hired me as a consultant to work on this project. And luckily, I was trained by experts from the UNIDO, and I had a chance to work with them on a big, massive project. And finally, I can be happy that I made something for my country and implemented this project. And now I come to IYC, how we, I just briefly explain all my journey from volunteer. I joined IYC as a volunteer. Then again, I had a chance to work with Commonwealth Secretariat, with Commonwealth Youth Council and the Prince Trust Foundation and with the Queen. I had a chance, I never thought I will meet the Queen of England when I was joining the university. So I had, honestly, I had never thought I will do a lecture or work for the UN also. So I was trying to do engineering and just focus on my career. I was working in a Holcim cement plant during my university second year. I was doing my internship there. So I never thought I would come to this diplomacy field. Once I come to this diplomacy field by accident, luckily I got trained by professionals who are expert in this field, from the Commonwealth, from these UNIDO especially, and also from IYC founders. So I got a chance to work with professionals and experts in this field. All I gained through my by professional experience. I didn't do anything in international relations. I did my master's in international business with BCU. So what we do through the experience I gained through my journey. So what we do, I implemented some leadership practices, what I learned from my industry, what I learned from my industry experience. So first we focus on continuous innovation. So what I mean by that, so how we implement projects, we implement projects with local youth-led organizations. We also work with government to organize international conferences, international events. At the same time, I also focus on projects where we work on grassroots with young group or any individual who wants to start a project, who wants to make an impact. So we design a project how we can introduce the innovation, because there are many things are changing. Because after COVID, we were planning to do a couple of initiatives, and the AI and the new technology came. So we are remodeling and rebranding our programs, and also we are remodeling our approach, how we're gonna reach out to every single youth in different countries, because it's in the UK and it's developed country, its approach is different, and they have plenty of opportunities, they have plenty of programs funded by the government or funded by the private sector. Countries like Sri Lanka or developing country, the dynamics is completely different. So we design programs specifically what they need for the country and what young people think it's needed at the time. For example, in Yemen, we only focus on education and health. So we don't do any other projects in Yemen. So we only focus on education and health. That is very important at this time. It's decided by the young people in this country. Right, so any projects we do, we make sure they follow all the sustainable practices, what they can do within the program, and also technologies to trace the project progress. So we have an internal system to find out what is the impact of the project. So when we implement the project, so we measure those tools and we add those values to the SDGs progress report globally. So we are part of the UN ECOSOC. So we have a ECOSOC status with the UN Social Economic Council, and all the reports what we get from throughout of our 72 countries, we just feed into our system all the practices we do. And how we manage our change management, because we have structure of luckily I got involved in the Commonwealth and the UN. So UN and Commonwealth is a massive organization compared to IYC. So they have all the instruments, they have all the policy documents, and they have all the systems in place and the template in place to do every single project or every single initiative. So we take what is suitable for us, because we are not massive like UN. We take what is suitable for us and how we can convince these tools to general volunteers, anyone who are joining from different parts of the world. So they should understand the language, how we're going to implement and what are the actions you can take and how you can get support from IYC and how we transform those findings or transform the results, what they do throughout of the program. So that is why our model is very key for the young people to understand how they can transform the language they implement in these programs. And another approach we do, we train our managers. We have project managers in different countries. Only 17 countries we have our country offices, and apart from that we have project offices. We hire people and we hire people for the specific project, and before the project ends we try to keep the same team with the new project and with the new funding if there's funding available. So one of the plan we do with the project managers, we will always think about the team's perspective. When we work with our project manager also works as child manager. So we have our staff members, we also have our project volunteers, and also we have a project team. So when we implement the project, we make sure they give their feedback, they give their findings, or give their when they implement the project, we make sure they give their feedback and they give their voices heard. So one of the things I saw in many projects while I'm working with the Red Cross and the Commonwealth, there is no feedback from the grassroots team. So they are the one facing the challenges. They are the one facing the project beneficiaries. So we don't know from the head office what they go through. Right? So we take policy decisions. We think we need to do this project or we need to do this conference, but end of the day, they are the one going to implement the projects. So it's highly important to hear from the grassroots people who work at the project offices and people who contribute to our project in globally. So that is why we implement that say to gap. So we make sure that all the concerns, all the feedback we receive from them. And finally, I just want to introduce a couple of programs what we have globally, how you can engage. And before I go to the final part of this lecture, so we have our IYC Borderless initiative. This is one of the initiatives I wanted to do for a long time. So we are launching in December first week. This initiative will give a platform for any young people across the world. They can submit their ideas, and we will provide them technical support, how to implement the project, and all the tools they need to implement the project, and the funding especially from the local community. For example, if they are applying from Mumbai in India, so we try to arrange a funding within the Mumbai community who they can support the idea. And we make sure they get trained first before they implement. We make sure they have a right team or right volunteers to implement the project. We also make sure, based on our findings, based on our experience, we want to make sure they have all the tools and components in place, all the trainings they need, because normally all the UN staff, we provide a Be Safe training to understand the ground reality. So that's why we train them first, and we try to implement the projects. And we did a couple of pilots for this initiative just to see how it works, because it's a global initiative we're going to launch globally for anybody to apply. So during our pilot, we found out, because normally when it's come to funding, we get like more than 4,000 applications for one funding. So we don't see, when we give the funding, when we see the results, it's not what they said. So they write many stories and they give the project ideas, but when they implement, they don't they don't actually produce the results. So this is one way we can filter people who has idea and who want to implement. So we provide them with all the training they need, all the tools they need to implement the project. Once they implement and show some results, then we will provide them with additional funding from IYC. So until that, they will not get funding from IYC. They will arrange the funding from locally within the community who can support the idea. So this is one initiative we are launching in December. And we also have like UN high-level conferences, which is financing development sector. And also we are planning to do IYC Climate Summit in Wolverhampton with the University of Wolverhampton next year. We were supposed to do this year and we had to postpone due to our internal arrangements. So we are planning to do next year in this country, in Wolverhampton. And also we have always a COSOC Partnership Forum, which is an open platform where private sector or any NGO, anyone who wants to be part of the UN initiative, so you can take action. So every single individual or every single institution, they can be part of a COSOC Partnership Forum, because Partnership Forum is highly important forum to connect our work and focus on as a one body. And we have UN Ocean Forum and the World Summit on Social Development in Doha next year. So these are the events we have for next year with IYC and with the UN development partner. So what I'm going to do here, so I'll just briefly explain all the process, what we do and what I went through. So these are the initiatives we have. So I would like to hear from you, your engagement in climate change, and I want to offer our support, what we can do with IYC and with the UN instruments. So I would like to open the floor for now to ask if you have any feedbacks or if you have any questions, or I just want to know where you work in climate change, just to understand your work, and from there I'll take it for the next step. Yeah. Thank you very much for all of you.
I know I could ask some questions. Is everybody finished on questions? Brilliant.
Yeah.
I would like to thank you so much. It has been inspirational to listen to you. Thank you. I would just like to say again to our CMI winners and our CMI winner and our runners-up, congratulations on the effort that goes into, well, first of all, your MBA and then the presentation to the CMI. You truly are an inspiration to us and absolutely our future leaders. I hope everybody has enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining us at the 30th Crystal Lecture. To our CMI colleagues, it's been a pleasure. I would like to say, I would draw this to an end and wish you all a safe journey home and see you next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Am I audible enough?